Hello, I am Tom Cece, pastor of Centennial Christian Church here in Bloomington, Illinois. And I am so grateful that you are joining with me at this time. And I would like to invite you to listen to a little reflection on uh, Paul's um, First Corinthians. It's First Corinthians chapter 13. So rather than read the entire chapter, I will simply read the last verse. It simply says, "And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." Hmm. God is constantly communicating with you. To find God and hear God's voice, you must seek God above all else. So save your very best striving for seeking God. Anything that you desire more than God becomes an idol. So when you are determined to get your own way, you block God out of your consciousness. So instead of single mindedly pursuing some goal, talk with God about it. Let the light of God's presence shine on this pursuit so that you can see it from God's perspective. Now, if the goal fits into God's plans for you, God will help you reach it. If it is contrary to God's will for you, God will gradually change the desire of your heart. Some examples of this can be that when Joseph of the Old Testament was dropped into a pit by his own brothers, God did not give up, and neither did Joseph. They both continued to find each other, and they both continued to do God's will. Now, Moses had said to God, "Here I am," and God did not give up. And in the same way, Moses did not give up either. So seek God first and foremost. Then the rest of your life will fall into place, piece by piece. So, whatever does, God does it forever. And the one thing God does is love. The one thing God does is graciously, unconditionally love. That is what God simply does. That is who God is. So that is the desire of your heart, is to do God's desire, which is to love. In fact, even desiring to do God's desire is doing God's desire, because it's mostly to love others. So I'd like you to enjoy the abundance of God's grace. And grace is actually defined as love itself. So throughout the day, give thanks for all the grace that God gives you. Throughout the day, seek God's will of loving others, and all things will come into place. You have a blessed and wonderful day. Amen.